All right, M Sports Crew, we are back. Now let's just get into the game that everybody wants to do. That everybody's going to be watching. Everybody's going to be tuned in because of Arch Manning, because of Julian Sand, Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, Texas, Colin Simmons, everybody, Anthony Hill Jr. So let's get into this is probably the biggest game of Week 1, outside of LSU and Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami. This is the game that most people are going to be watching at 12 o'clock. So thinking about last year, Texas offensively, they were ranked 21st. They averaged 278 yards passing. They rushed for over 150 yards a game. Ohio State, ranked offensively, was 30th. They passed for an average of 263 yards. They rushed for an average of 166 yards. Now, defensively, Texas was ranked 3rd. They only gave up 173 yards passing. They only gave up 109 yards rushing. And Ohio State was ranked 1st. Obviously, we've seen the way they were, the way that defense played in the playoffs, college football playoffs. They gave up an average of 167 yards passing, and they gave up an average for rushing 87 yards. So under 100 yards each game, man. That's impressive. So thinking about both of these teams lost a lot of players to the draft. I know Texas lost about 19 players to the draft. For some players they lost obviously Gunnar Helm, Isaiah Bond, Andrew Makumba, Kelvin Banks Jr., Matthew Golden, Jaden Blue, Cameron Williams, Jake Majors, Hayden Connor, Jahdae Barron, Alfred Collins. There's some other guys, but those are just naming some guys that they lost, right? So now you have to replace those guys. So obviously, Texas, they went to the transfer portal outside of their top 10 class they have. Recruiting-wise, they're ranked 23rd according to 24/7. To me, with 11 commits, that tells me that Texas, they're able to build their program to where they don't have to depend on the transfer portal as much as maybe what they have done maybe 2 years ago, that they were able to build up. Now, some guys that they did get in the portal on that defensive line, obviously they have to replace some of those guys they lost to the draft, is Murad Watson from Syracuse. He was a true freshman last year. He's going into this year. A lot of talent there. They also got the tight end from California, Jake Endress. They had to replace Gunnar Helm. We know that as well. And also Travis Shaw, the D-line from North Carolina as well. So these are guys that they had to replace, thinking about that. Now, thinking about with Ohio State, they lost 14 guys to the draft, right? They only have 4 starters return on offense this year. So some guys they lost to the draft was Jake Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Cody Simmons, Denzel Burke, Will Howard, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Junkins, Emeka Ibuka, Donovan Jackson, Tyleik Williams, and Josh Simmons, right? So they also lost a good amount of guys as well. And they had to go, they got some guys in the portal as well. Bew Atkinson, the edge from North Carolina, CJ Donaldson, the running back from West Virginia, which I thought was a good pickup as well. So with all these guys that they had to miss out, obviously they had to replace guys on that offensive line with Ethan from Rice, Phillip Daniels from Minnesota, and Justin Terry from West Virginia. And they also got the tight end Max Clare from Purdue, which I thought was a great pickup already with a deep wide receiver group that Ohio State has. So both of these teams have replaced a lot of different guys, and they're going to depend on their young guys. Obviously, we know Ohio State doesn't recruit it just like Texas. These are 2 of the biggest programs that they recruit well. So for me, with both of the keys for both of these teams to win, starting with Texas, the key is going to be Arch Manning and those wide receivers. Let's just get what it is, right? So we obviously know Texas lost a couple of their starting wide receivers. With Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond, Gunnar Helm, they had to replace a lot of production. So you're going to depend on these next year guys like Ryan Wingo, DeAndre Moore Jr., true freshman coming in, 5-star Jamie French. So the question is going to be the connection between Arch Manning and those wide receivers. And also, too, in my opinion, of going into environment like Ohio State, going into the shoe, if you can run the ball, control the clock, and keep that fan base out of the game, that's going to be important. Because when that crowd is in it, like Ohio State, a fan base like they have, it gets crazy if Ohio State is up. So you want to keep Julian Sand in that offense off the field, run the ball if you can, control the clock, right? And I think that's going to open up the passing that they're going to need to do to make those big plays. On the secondary, on the defensive side, this is what it is. Secondary versus that Ohio State wide receiver group with Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and those guys. Now, thinking about last year, we obviously know they played each other in the playoffs. They did a great job with keeping Jeremiah Smith out the game. Now, other guys stepped up for him. They still lost, obviously. But I think they're going to use some of the same strategies that they used for that game into this game, of trying to keep Jeremiah Smith, just keeping him out of the game. Whether they're playing cover 2, always having the safety over the top, they're going to have to do that. But it's really about this secondary versus Ohio State wide receivers. Now, we know they lost Jahdae Barron. We know they lost Makumba. So we'll see how that goes. But they also have still Michael Taffy. And in my opinion, also putting pressure on Julian Sayin. Right, this is his first year. Yes, he's a former 5-star, but this is his first game. This is a big game. Showing him different schemes, putting pressure on him, blitzing, really pressuring him to see if we can get turnovers. That's going to help as well. And when you go into an environment like this, you want to get turnovers and keep the crowd out the game. So those are my keys for Texas. Now, for Ohio State, same thing similar to Arch Manning with Julian Sayin and these wide receivers. Listen, you got the number one wide receiver group coming back according to PFF. You have Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, 5-star recruits they get every year because of Hartline. Now he's the offensive coordinator. It's about making those plays, connecting, and once again, running the ball. Right? You have James People and C.J. Donaldson. Run that ball. Keep Arch Manning off the field. You know he's a dual threat type of quarterback. He can run. He can throw. Keep him off the field. So that's another thing as well. Like, in my opinion, whoever can control the clock and run the ball, slow the game down, and keep the other team off the field is going to win this game. As well as on the defensive side, is pressuring Arch Manning. Keep him in the pocket, right? We know he's athletic and he can run. So this requires your defensive ends to be very disciplined, your linebackers to keep an eye on him as well. Keep him in the pocket, collapse that pocket, and put the pressure on him to make that throw or throw it out of bounds, whatever the case may be. Make them one-dimensional, stop the pass, make them try to run the ball, right? Keep Arch Manning out the game as much as you can. So this is really going to come down to that defensive line from Ohio State staying disciplined. Don't let Arch Manning get out of that pocket because he will run. If there's nobody down the field, he's going, and he's quick. So that's my opinion on that one. But overall, this game comes down to several things for these winners. It's going to be that O-line versus that D-line, whether Ohio State, whether Texas O-line, their D-line, Ohio State wide receivers versus that Texas secondary. And at the end of the day, when you have to replace so many guys, especially for Texas, Ohio State, it's going to come down to your quarterbacks. Arch Manning versus Julian Sayin. Who do you believe can get that win, in my opinion? Now, remember, PFF ranks Texas third offensively. They have a top 10 receiving core, top 10 running back group. Ohio State's ranked ninth offensively. They have the number one receiving core, top 10 QB group. Texas is ranked PFF, their defense second, with top 10 linebacker group, top 10 defensive line group. Malik Muhammad, he's a top 10 corner. Michael Taffy is a top 10 safety. Ohio State, they're ranked, according to PFF, 8th ranked defense with a top 10 secondary, top 10 linebacker group with Sonny Styles. Obviously, we know with Caleb Downs. This is a tough game, all right, for me to pick. I'm not going to lie. I can see both of these teams winning. I can see Arch Manning going there, getting the win. I can see Julian Sayin being at home, getting a win as well. A lot of this is going to come down to sometimes you can beat a team at the right time, right? Being that, in my opinion, Ohio State lost so many starting guys to the draft. Obviously, we know I expect them to get better as the year goes on. Obviously, we know they're top recruits. We know they can develop players. The question is going to be, are they going to be that developed? Are they going to be ready for week one right away? I know they're going to play, but in my opinion, I'm going to give a slight, and I mean a slight fucking edge to Texas to win this game, just based off, I think this is going to come down to Arch and Julian Sayin. I think Arch Manning will make a couple more plays than Julian Sayin. I think Julian Sayin, he has, like I said before, I think Ohio State has the better offense out of the two. The question is going to be that defense and which defense can get stops and turnovers. And I think Texas can definitely get a stop and definitely get a turnover if they need to. That's what it's really going to come down to. So I'm giving Texas the slight edge to get this win. Would it shock me if Ohio State wins? No. Just based off the talent they have, the offense that they're bringing back. But I'm going to give the slight edge to Texas because I just think Arch Manning is going to make a play that will take Texas over the edge. So put in the comments now, who do you have winning this game? Texas, Ohio State. We know this is a big game. And how far do you think Texas, Ohio State can get for the rest of the year, get to the playoffs? Do you think Ohio State can repeat? Do you think Texas finally gets over that hump and wins the national title for the first time since the early 2000s? Oh, I believe it was 2005 with Vince Young. Put in comments now. Till next time, M Sports Crew.